if you're in the market to buy a Honda GB350, you're in luck now. There's 3 models to choose from. So you've got the standard model, which is classed as a GB350, and here in Australia that comes in blue or matte black, whatever colour you want, provided it's matte. Then you've got the sports version, and that's in the UK at the moment, and it's got more like an upswept exhaust, smaller mudguards, and you know, not much difference in that line there. And then when you swing it here now, the latest one here to arrive in Australia is the classic version, or I presume it's a classic, but it's just classed as a GB350C. My thoughts after having the stock GB350 for roughly 18 months now, it's been a trouble-free bike, apart from one recall for an ABS issue, which they replaced the sensors for free. But apart from that, it's been a really good bike over the 18 months period, and I decided when the GB350C, this one came out, I thought I'd have a crack at this one and take it too. So the best thing I like about this one, it's getting to the stage where it's almost copying a classic 350. And what I mean by that, it's got really big mudguards at the front, which look good. Big ones at the back. It's got the longer swept exhaust, fairly quiet little exhaust. Nothing like on the stock GB350, which is a really deep throaty exhaust when you get behind it. Is you can remove the rear pillion seat, and this is what I did. I removed it and I put this plate on the back so I could carry stuff on it that way. And it's even looking more like a classic 350 now as far as that goes. Now you might say, why am I concerned about classic 350s or copying or putting it against one of those? No big drama there. I've already owned 2 of those. I actually own 2 of those, so there's no problem there. I just like the look of those and the way they go, and I also like this Honda too. In this particular bike, it's a 5-speed box. First 4 gears will get you moving along okay. At the moment I've had this up to about 80 kilometres now. It runs along that fairly easy, but it hasn't done many kilometres, so I'm going easy on it. Once you in a reference now to the GB350, which has actually got the same running gear. Once you get into 5th gear, well, that's more like overdrive or hopeless. So, you know, don't expect any performance in 5th gear on this particular bike, but it has got good torque in the 2nd and 3rd gear pull, say from about 30 k's up to around about 70 or 80 kilometres an hour. That's a sweet spot there. It gets off the mark pretty quick and performs well in that line there. Now the Classic would be definitely slower than this one off the mark, but once you get up to 100 kilometres an hour and you're in top gear, the Classic will pull along better. So it's got the more high-end pull, where this one's in mid-range. So if you take that into account, that's the best way to describe both of those. Now on this particular bike here, you know, I find whether you're on a 350 Classic or a GB350, either bike's a really nice little bike to ride around town, easy to handle. This one weighs around 180 kilos, and the Classic gets up around that 195 mark. Once you get on them, you don't really know, or you don't really notice the difference that much in weight. Although I do feel this one here is a little bit, what you would say, easy to manoeuvre, like probably less metal. And what I will say about the Honda, it's really well put together. Like the fit and finish on this bike is really good, like as good as what you'd expect if you had mentioned that you had a Honda. But on the other hand, look at this paintwork now in direct sun. Look at the sparkle. That is really a nice metallic type look, isn't it? Also in the side boxes. This one's a little bit firmer ride, and I don't think it's because of the seat. I actually think it's because of these heavier shock absorbers. Look at the size of them. You'd think they were from a 500. So they're a big, beefy shock. So I haven't tried any adjustments on those shocks at this stage. Like I said, the ride's possibly a little bit firmer on this than what's on the stock GB350. Yeah, so if you're in the market and you want to buy yourself a Honda GB350, which one would you go for? The straight out GB350 here is a lot more sportier ride, a lot deeper exhaust, and feels like you're riding a mini sports bike. This one here is a more relaxed one, so it's a lot easier, relaxed riding. Yeah, so I think the big news is, or would be the big news, if Honda brought out the GB500. Now that would really top it, especially if it's a single cylinder, looks something like this, and they don't overdo it with, you know, emissions crap on it. In other words, big coolers and things like that. and I think Honda would be on it pretty well with a winner there, and they'll sell quite a lot, because for a lot of people the 350s might be good Indian market jobs, but when you get out into the Western country, USA, or if you get over to Australia, UK, people like something with a bit of power, and they like to say that, you know, they're riding a 500 compared to a 350. And more importantly, the 500, even if they brought out and it only got to say 27 horsepower, which I'd find good enough for me, I would say the best thing about it is really easily pull the hills and that. And I'm just waiting now to see whether Honda brings out a 500 single or Enfield brings out a 500 single, and see what direction I'll go in one of those. So Poe, you found this a little bit an interesting sign, and we'll catch up with you on the next clip.